My wife said, sleeping with others will bring us closer. So I brought her divorce papers. I opened our marriage on our anniversary. My husband raged and took brutal revenge. Where did you get that? She asked, shocked. Really? I show you proof of your cheating, and you ask where I got it? Does it matter? Will it change the fact that you cheated on me? I asked my wife of 7 years. It looks bad, and I admit we kissed, but it's not cheating. We were in full view of others, she replied. So, that's your defense? No explanation of who he is, or why you were kissing. You think because you're not having sex in the picture it's fine? Is that your idea of keeping our vows? I retorted. Brian, I see you're upset. We were just caught off guard. Making a big deal out of this won't help, she said firmly. You haven't even given me his name. Why should I get upset over someone I don't know? I said sarcastically. Does his name matter? You might do something stupid like pick a fight, and he'll punch you. I won't let that happen, she objected. Thanks for your honesty. You've made your choice, now I'll make mine. I replied hotly. I turned and ran upstairs to pack. She followed me. What are you doing? She asked, confused. Packing a suitcase, I responded curtly. But why? She questioned, desperation in her voice. I can't take your lies and deceit. I need to leave before I do something I regret. I growled. Don't be silly, Brian. You wouldn't slap me, she said, trying to reason with me. Until today, I thought you'd never cheat on me. I guess we don't know each other. I shot back. Cheating? Who said I cheated? Kissing him wasn't cheating, she argued. There you go, lying again, but I've never cheated on you, Brian. I didn't cheat on you with him or anyone else, she shouted, her voice rising. What do you call this? I held out another picture from that same night, a pretty good picture of her entertaining him. But where? How? She stammered. Does it matter? Does knowing change the fact that you cheated and lied? I demanded. She dropped the pictures and sobbed, trying to hug me. Stay away, Tracy. I gave you a chance to be honest, but you didn't think I was worth the truth. I could have stayed to discuss this for our son's sake if you were honest, but you demand too much. I'll take my phone only. Call for emergencies with Bobby, or I'll block you. Clear? She nodded and I walked out. Furious and heartbroken, I checked into a motel on Friday night. I decided to take the weekend to consider my next steps. If I divorced her, Bobby would be in a single-parent home and I'd have to pay alimony and child support. I wish she had explained or apologized. That's why I decided it was better for us to be apart and think about our next move. The absence of my wife and son weighed heavily on me, and the loneliness was unbearable. I cried until I passed out. By noon the next day, messages started arriving. I had earned an engineering degree and worked at a local chemical lab. After 5 years, I was offered a production manager position at a research and development center 400 miles away with a significant salary increase. We moved, leaving friends and family behind. Tracy got a job at a large credit card company's call center with over 1,200 employees her age. A year later, Bobby was born, and I convinced her to be a stay-at-home mom since I was well paid. She loved her work friends who quickly became our social circle. We often got together with her coworkers and their spouses. Although I had no objections, our social life mostly revolved around her coworkers. I felt out of place among the charming men, but they treated me well. The messages were from our friends whom Tracy had informed about our problems in detail. They urged me to meet and resolve the situation. I was amazed at how she kept this from me, but shared it with them. I disliked others knowing the intimate details of my life. Tracy didn't call or text knowing I'd block her. Cassidy, Tracy's best friend, seemed to instigate everything. She wanted me to meet the group at her house on Sunday at 6 p.m. Suspecting a trap, I suggested Angus Steakhouse instead, where I could leave freely. They reluctantly agreed. I had several reasons to agree to the meeting: to understand why Tracy did what she did, to see whose side our friends were on, and to learn if anyone was involved in her actions. As an account manager, I'm used to confrontations and staying calm. I wanted answers to make an informed decision. I parked my car nearby and walked to the restaurant, realizing the group had arrived early to strategize. This amused me. There was only one seat at the table next to Tracy. She stood to greet me, but I stopped her before she could reach me. If you don't mind, I'd prefer to sit at the far end of the table away from her. If not, I can sit at another table, I said. Cassidy quickly responded before Tracy could. Of course, Brian. Jared, please give Brian a seat at the end of the table. Your dinner is already paid for, Brian. Let's all go ahead and order. We were in a private dining area to avoid prying eyes. Everyone placed their orders quickly. Before Cassidy or anyone else could start talking, I handed out copies of the photo of Tracy kissing the mystery man. You all seem very interested in Tracy and me settling our differences. I was shocked she shared our personal matters before we had a chance to discuss them ourselves. This shows her continued disrespect for me and our marriage. Cassidy tried to speak, but I interrupted. Before any discussion begins, I want an answer. Look closely at this picture. Do you see that man? Tracy refuses to give his name. I'm sure at least one of you knows who he is. If you want to help, I need information. If no one can be honest and provide the facts, then we have nothing more to discuss. There was complete silence. Even Cassidy hesitated to speak. No one claimed they didn't know the man, or offered his name. I had my answer. Thank you for your time. I hope someone is hungry enough to eat my steak. I've lost my appetite. No one here seems interested in helping us repair our relationship. I apologize. I got up and left. Tracy called out begging me to come back, but no one else did. It was clear our friends were her friends, not mine. Tracy, Cassidy, and the group were stunned. They had planned a reasonable discussion, but I blindsided them with my demand. They weren't prepared to handle it. I didn't mention it at the restaurant, but I was on my way out of the motel. I stopped at a fast food place to grab something to eat. When I got home, I talked to the babysitter Tracy had hired earlier and thanked her. I quickly ate and moved my clothes and personal items into the spare bedroom. Over the weekend, I had bought locks with identical keys for the spare bedroom and hall bathroom doors to avoid any physical encounters with Tracy. Once settled, I played with my 3-year-old son, bathed him, and put him to bed. Tracy arrived home around 10:45 p.m. She seemed happy to see me back and found me in Bobby's room watching him sleep with tears streaming down my face. I shushed her and waved her away. No need to disturb his innocent slumber. After closing the door, she tried to hug me, but I stopped her. I'm glad you're back. Let me make you something to eat. We need to talk. I've already eaten, but thanks. So where have you been? With your lover again? I hinted. No, I was at the steakhouse. They helped me find the right words to get us back on track. I have a lot to tell you, she explained. I'll talk if you give me your lover's name. If not, we have nothing to discuss. I can't. I just can't, she said sadly. I wish you'd show me, your husband, half the devotion you show your lover. I'll stay in the spare bedroom until further notice. Don't touch me. Who knows what diseases you might carry now. But I won't let this keep me from my son. If you're ready to talk, your first words will be your lover's name. If you're willing to sacrifice our marriage to protect him, so be it. Don't speak to me until you're ready to give up his name. She walked away sobbing. A week went by. Tracy and I only spoke to Bobby, not to each other. On Monday night, I came home to a surprise. Everything seemed fine until I walked into the kitchen. A crowd of Tracy's friends surrounded me, eager to see me again. They avoided saying anything that might annoy me, but it felt like they were walking on eggshells. The first thing I asked was, "Where's Bobby?" I don't want adult conversations around my son. I've dropped him off at the babysitter's. He's staying there tonight, Tracy explained. I see, I said, surprised there had been pre-planning I wasn't aware of. I didn't see your cars parked outside. We all parked a block away to surprise you, Brian. We couldn't risk you driving by after seeing our cars, Cassidy said. Well, you caught me off guard. Why are you all here? Has something changed that I should know about? I asked. Yes, honey, Tracy began. Let's go to the living room and explain everything. I'm ready to answer your questions. Sure, but I need to use the bathroom first. I'll be right there. I went to the restroom, turned on the recording on my cell phone, and put it in my shirt pocket. Then I joined them in the living room and noticed 2 new faces. I immediately recognized Tracy's lover sitting next to a younger woman. Tracy began. Ryan, meet Elliot Franklin and his wife, Gail. They've been our friends for a long time. I know this may shock you, but you insisted on knowing who he was. We all decided this was the best way to tell you. If you try to attack him, the guys here will intervene. We don't want anyone to get hurt. So, you finally show me his face. It's a bit late to worry about me getting hurt, isn't it? I said sarcastically. You didn't care about hurting me, just keeping him safe. Don't worry, I won't touch him. I don't want any diseases he might have given Tracy. Everyone groaned in disappointment. Cassidy jumped in. Brian, we understand your frustration. Can we speak calmly? We were trying to give you what you asked for. You wanted his name, and now you have it. We assumed you would also want to talk to him, and we've arranged that. Elliot doesn't need me to speak for him. He can speak for himself. We're just introducing you. Elliot stood up and held out his hand. We've gotten off to a bad start. I hope we can be friends, or at least polite. I'll treat you with respect and courtesy, and I hope you will do the same. May I call you Brian? He asked. I kept my hands at my side. First, since we're just meeting, Mr. Franklin, you should call me Mr. Wilson. I can't imagine our relationship warrants familiarity. Second, you promise respect after showing blatant disrespect. I won't ignore your insolence and treat you politely in return. Fair enough, Mr. Wilson. My suggestion was for our conversation today, not past incidents. I'd like to discuss what happened between me and the woman you married. Please don't call my wife. That title may be short-lived. I'm considering divorce, which I'm sure you know. How should I address her, Mr. Wilson? Refer to her as the woman I married. I'll accept that. Very well, Mr. Wilson. I'd like to explain what happened between the woman you married and me. I hope you find my perspective acceptable. I'm listening, Mr. Franklin. Go ahead. Elliot took a deep breath and began. Look around this room, Mr. Wilson. You see a room full of attractive people, including the woman you married and yourself. Do you think it's a coincidence that your best friends are more attractive than average? This group came together like birds of a feather. As friendships grew, so did closeness. Everyone here is in a happy, stable relationship. Our goal is confidence in our soulmates, making us inseparable. We all believe the same about you and the woman you married. He continued, take my wife, Gail. She's as great to me as any woman here, and we plan to spend our lives together. No man here, including you, will take her from me. This confidence allows us to share with others for our mutual growth. Monogamy is outdated. True love involves trust, closeness, understanding, and sharing. How nice for you and your wife, Mr. Franklin, and the rest of this group if they all agree. But that has nothing to do with me and the woman I married. Excuse me, Mr. Wilson, but don't you see the benefits of trust, understanding, and security in your relationship? You could both grow by opening up to this, he said, spreading his arms to include everyone. If what you say is true, Mr. Franklin, then you just called every woman here a strumpet, including the one I married. I'm appalled you change your morals so easily. A gentleman never interferes in marital relations as you have. I see your flawed logic, Mr. Wilson. This isn't one-sided. You two are invited to embrace our concepts. You could be with any woman here if you desired. When you joined our group, it was inevitable you'd be invited to participate fully. If you hadn't reacted so harshly, she would have discussed the potential benefits with you. Instead, she panicked and retreated. I'm sure you'll see the benefits of what we suggest. We just need to find a way to make you comfortable. I see, I said, pretending to consider his words. Then I looked Tracy in the eye and asked, is this true? You discussed this with them and agreed to test the waters with Mr. Franklin without telling me first. Tracy nodded nervously. I heard how these experiences improved and strengthened marriages, and I wanted the same for us. My love for you hasn't changed. I only wanted to show you what I learned to convince you it would be good for us. She smiled, realizing it was our first real conversation since that night. So, you want me to believe that one session with him made you an experienced courtesan? It wasn't your first time, was it? She looked down, unable to meet my gaze. Mr. Franklin jumped in. Don't you see, Mr. Wilson? We helped her understand the benefits. You can participate too, and there are other advantages. So, you think you're some kind of Casanova? I asked. Mr. Wilson, I am experienced and attentive. I help less experienced lovers like the woman you married. She will learn and grow, and you will benefit from her new experience. Everyone goes through periods of complacency. I looked at Tracy again. When have I resisted trying something new? If you wanted to spice things up, why didn't you talk to me instead of jumping into bed with him? She replied, please don't misunderstand me, honey. You're a gentle and sweet lover, which I need most of the time. But sometimes I want something more forceful and direct, which Elliot showed me. He never tried to replace you in my heart. I kept my anger in check, realizing our relationship couldn't be repaired. Inside I felt a storm, but outwardly I stayed calm. Now I aimed to gather ammunition to create chaos in their lives for destroying my home. Thank you, Brian. Now do you see our group in a better light? Will you and Tracy join? Your marriage will grow stronger, I guarantee it. I forced a grin. I need more time to digest everything. Tracy and I need to talk one-on-one. Once we settle things, we'll get back to you. Is that okay? He grinned weakly, needing my answer immediately, but not getting it. Sure, he said reluctantly. Take as much time as you need. He nodded and 3 large men grabbed and held me. I wasn't going anywhere though. Surprised, I didn't feel threatened. Tracy walked over, pulled my cell phone from my pocket, and started deleting videos. Brian, we want to trust you, but until you're one of us we have to protect ourselves. It was clear you were recording tonight's events on your phone. We can't afford that. Tracy nodded at Elliot, who asked, is it all gone? Tracy replied, yes, there's no recording of tonight. She tucked my phone away, showing she was fully committed to their group. I showed the look of defeat Elliot wanted. Elliot continued, don't be so down, Brian. I'd like to think you were recording to choose who to be with first in our group, but we can't take that risk. He patted me on the back and the group quietly left. I grabbed my keys and headed to the garage. Tracy asked, where are you going? To pick up Bobby, if that's okay, I replied. I was hoping we could, reconnect tonight. Do you really need to get him now? I miss my son. I'll be back soon, I said and walked out. I drove to Angus Steakhouse, hungry since I hadn't eaten dinner. The restaurant didn't disappoint. I savored the tender beef, mentally reviewing the night's events, hoping my plan would work out. Mrs. Stevenson thanked me for the generous tip. I might need her help again soon. Bobby was thrilled to see me and couldn't stop laughing all the way home. I bathed and fed him before putting him to bed. Tracy informed me she was cooking something light, but I told her I had already eaten and she should take care of herself. Offended, she brushed me off. Not wanting to upset Bobby since we both had work tomorrow, I got ready for bed. Tracy wanted to talk. What's going on, Brian? You seemed interested in Elliot's offer, then you shut me out.
What happened? She asked.
I'm glad you asked. Let me answer with some questions. Your answers might provide clarity, I replied.
Go ahead, she said.
Just before they left, 3 men grabbed me in my own house. You said nothing. Is that true? It wasn't like that, she objected. Wasn't it? 3 men grabbed me. Yes or no, Tracy? Did it happen? Yes, she said, but I interrupted her. Yes, it did. Did you protest? Were there any witnesses who were also silent? Yes or no, Tracy? No, she answered reluctantly. We're starting to understand. Next question. Did I ask you to take my phone and delete anything from it? Yes or no, Tracy? Be honest. No, she said quietly. So bear with me. This is a long question. Be careful, so I don't have to repeat myself. You admit you had no objection to me being restrained in my own home. You also admit you took my cell phone and deleted recordings not at my request but at someone else's. Is that true, Tracy? Yes or no? I asked, my frustration clear. Yes, Tracy replied. Good, we're almost there. Since I was in the room and heard no one ask you to delete anything from my phone, you must have agreed to this task without my knowledge. Is that correct? I pressed. Tracy looked down. Yes, that's correct. I hadn't thought of it that way. You make it seem like a betrayal, she said, her voice shaking. It is a betrayal, Tracy. Now, why did I drop you like a hot potato? Your own answers reveal why. You proved today that you were on their side, not mine. Now I'm going to bed alone. I don't want to be around someone who so indifferently betrays me, I declared. She started sobbing as I left her in the hallway. I locked the door. Around 4 in the morning I heard her trying to open it, but the lock foiled her attempts. Tuesday morning I talked to the vice president. Dan, can you recommend a good divorce attorney? One who will fight hard for the husband. I asked him. Please tell me you're not asking for yourself, Brian, Dan pleaded, looking worried. Unfortunately, I am. I assumed you might know someone, I replied, trying to keep my composure. I'm friends with Ted Russ from our legal firm. He can recommend someone. Let me call him and get back to you, Dan offered. Thanks, Dan, I said, feeling a bit of relief. And don't worry, Brian, this stays between us, Dan assured me. You don't know how good that feels to hear. Thank you, Dan, I said, genuinely appreciating his support. On Ted's recommendation, I called Beatrice Thorne's office and set up an appointment for 2:30 that afternoon. It turned out to be Beatrice Thorne. She told me her caseload was 70% women and 30% men, but she fights hard for her clients despite the circumstances. I convinced her of my position and she agreed to take my case. She warned me I'd be paying child support until Bobby turned 18, including college expenses. I said I was fine providing for my son and hoped for 50-50 custody. For alimony, she said I'd likely pay for 3 to 5 years depending on the judge. In this state, it's usually 1 year of alimony for every 2 years of marriage up to 20 years. After that, it's limited to 10 years. Although I'd have to deal with it, the thought of paying her to have fun with idiots pissed me off. Expecting our family to grow, Tracy and I rented the house we lived in for the past 4 years while planning to build our dream home. I had many sketches for our future retreat. Now those dreams are gone. At least the house won't be sold, divided, or fought over. Bobby, being so young, isn't attached to any particular home. If Tracy continues to rent the house, it doesn't matter to me. I know I could never sleep in the master bedroom again, knowing it had been used by that idiot. Who knows how many times they had been together before I discovered her infidelity. Beatrice explained that the average divorce in our state takes 8 months if uncontested and a year if contested. I hoped for the 8-month timeline. Staying married to a traitorous wife held no appeal. Now that I had decided to divorce Tracy, Beatrice also mentioned there was no financial benefit to filing a declaration of infidelity, but it could help in custody disputes. She said the paperwork could be ready by Thursday afternoon, and I asked her to serve Tracy at work on Friday at 10 a.m. so her friends and colleagues could witness it. After resolving the divorce issues and agreeing on a fee, I asked about living arrangements until the divorce was finalized. What questions do you have, Brian? Beatrice, my attorney, asked. My main concern is time with my son. 8 months to a year is a long time for both of us. I don't want to be an absent father. Would it be illegal or inappropriate to continue living in the same house to maximize my time with him? I inquired. While not uncommon, it can be challenging, Beatrice replied. How so? I asked, curious. When she's served on Friday, she'll be extremely unhappy. If you're nearby, she might retaliate. Are you prepared for her anger? Beatrice explained. Absolutely. I can handle it. Knowing we'll be legally separated. I responded confidently. She may not want a divorce. Often cheating wives want both their husband and their affair. She might try to prevent it, Beatrice warned. But it's a legal process, right? She can't stop it just because she wants to. I said, trying to understand the situation fully. True, but she could complicate things, Beatrice noted.
How?
I asked, concerned. If you become intimate before the divorce, the timeline resets to 0 and you'll wait another 8 months. The state will see it as a desire to end the divorce process, Beatrice explained. That won't be a problem for me, though I can see Tracy trying to lure me into bed to disrupt the process. I have an iron will, Beatrice. I won't give in, I said firmly. You don't have to be, she insisted. Tracy could claim you had an affair, and unless you can prove otherwise, which is nearly impossible, the timeline resets. The judge will find it hard to believe you weren't intimate while living together. I've seen it before, Brian, and I strongly advise against it. I countered. If she makes such a claim, would she need to provide specific details like time and place? I could refute those. Yes, she'd need details, but it would still be your word against hers, and the judge might believe her, especially if she's tearfully persuasive, Beatrice cautioned. Leave it to me. Thank you, Beatrice. You've been a great help, I said, feeling somewhat reassured. I then discussed another legal issue that I would face after the divorce. Tracy usually gets home half an hour before me, so I wasn't surprised to find her cooking. I avoided the kitchen and headed upstairs to shower. Using the hall bathroom gave her fewer opportunities to trap me. I took a change of clothes with me, practicing living separately under the same roof. When I came out of the bathroom, she was waiting in the hallway. Dinner will be ready soon. Bobby's in his high chair.
You smell nice, she said.
I'll be right down, thanks, I replied, unlocking my spare bedroom door. The tension was palpable, but she didn't say anything sarcastic. As we ate, she began. I'd like to explain about the cell phone last night. Go ahead, I said calmly. Elliot knew you were recording and said it wasn't fair to expose everyone to that risk. They couldn't leave until the threat was neutralized. He suggested I delete the records myself in your presence. I see. And why did they trust you to do that to your husband? I asked. Because I gave them my word, Brian. I don't understand, she said, sounding confused. Understand what? Didn't you promise to be faithful to me on our wedding day? Silence followed my remarks, and I was glad for it. Darling, I don't want you to think I'm on their side. That's not true, Tracy insisted. Isn't it? What if those men had grabbed you in our house? Do you think I would have stood by silently? I challenged. What choice did you have, Brian? They could have taken you easily, she reasoned. That's true, but that wouldn't have stopped me. I would have fought for you, because I would have been on your side, not theirs. Last night you acted like one of them, I pointed out. I'm sorry you don't understand, Brian. I explained about the cell phone. I don't know what else to say, she said, looking frustrated. There's nothing more to say, is there? I joked. You're right. How did you find those pictures, Brian? I'd like to know, she asked, her curiosity piqued. I'm sure you would. Maybe one of your friends isn't as loyal to your cause. What if a coworker sent those pictures to me? How would you feel? I teased.
Who?
Please tell me who? A man or a woman? She asked urgently. I can't tell you, Tracy. Why not? She asked, exasperated. I gave my word, I said with a grin. She realized she wasn't getting anywhere and decided to change the topic. Did you enjoy watching? She asked, trying a different angle. No, I just saw a bunch of animals, I replied bluntly. That's right, Brian. It doesn't have to be emotional. It's supposed to strengthen our marriage, she argued. How's that going? Our marriage is hanging by a thread, I retorted. I already feel closer to you, she added sarcastically. Don't be like that. You don't understand, Tracy. Has our life become so boring and devoid of fantasy that you think we can't survive as a couple without involving others? I asked, my voice filled with disbelief. I didn't say that. It's not about survival. Don't you want to do more than just survive? Shouldn't we take chances to strengthen our marriage? What's the damage in that? She asked, her voice full of frustration. The damage is the destruction of the trust we once had. Your experiments are tearing our marriage apart. Maybe your friends don't value fidelity, but I do. I don't trust you anymore, Tracy. You've shown you're capable of doing whatever you want behind my back. If it's so important, why didn't you talk to me before jumping into bed with another man? I responded, my voice rising. I knew you'd react like this. I thought if I participated and saw the benefits, I could bring what I learned to you. When you see the improvements, you'd understand the value, she explained, trying to justify her actions. So you and Elliot see yourselves as enlightened, thinking people like me need to be spoon-fed your superior knowledge. How elitist of you. I didn't realize how lucky I was, I said, sarcasm dripping from my words. She noticed. Let me show you what I've learned. I adopted techniques from Elliot and watched Gail closely last night. The goal is to improve our love life, not destroy it.
Let me show you.
You won't regret it, she enthused, attempting to persuade me. Every time I look at you, I cringe. I'm not interested in kissing you anytime soon. All you offer now is what used to be mine, shared freely with other men. I retorted, my anger barely contained. Only yours?
You don't owe me, Brian.
I never have and never will, she said defiantly. You're right. I never claimed to own you. I thought you were mine because you said you gave yourself to me. Now you've taken that back and given it to another man. You've broken something in me, Tracy, and I'm not sure it can be fixed, I said, my voice filled with sorrow and finality. She started sobbing again. That was the last conversation we had until Friday. I spent all my free time with Bobby. I changed his diaper and didn't ask for her help. It was almost a game of who bathed him the most. Bobby enjoyed the attention, and so did I. Over the next few days, I researched Elliot and Gail Franklin. I found almost nothing. The only public record for an Elliot Franklin was a homeless man arrested for soliciting money downtown. The photo and age didn't match the one who had entertained Tracy. I'll keep trying to find out more about them. I arranged for Tracy to be served at 10 a.m. on Friday because I was attending a meeting of the local chapter of facilities managers. These meetings last 2 to 4 hours, including lunch, and are sponsored by contractors advertising their services. If Tracy called, my secretary would confirm my extended absence, and I'd leave my phone on silent, only answering emergency work calls. I wasn't avoiding Tracy. I wanted to give her time to process the shock before talking. When I returned to work, I saw her numerous messages and called her back. She answered quickly, clearly upset. It's about time. Are you serious? Getting served in front of my friends? Do you know how embarrassed I was? Are you really divorcing me over this? I told you it was nothing, Brian. When will you get that through your head? Why won't you return my calls? Why won't you talk to me? My secretary should have informed you that I was in a management meeting. I called you back as soon as I could. I have a job to do, and when have I refused to talk to you? You've been avoiding me for the past 2 days. I'm still talking to you now. Let's resume this conversation after work when we have more time, I said firmly. She started crying. I don't want a divorce, please, Brian.
Don't divorce me.
We'll talk tonight, okay, Tracy? Okay, she said, sniffling. I love you. Tonight, then. Goodbye, Tracy, I said, ending the call. I had one more short meeting about a lab issue and called our contractor to resolve it. I arrived home early, knowing Friday afternoons are usually quiet. Realizing she might not want to cook, I picked up Chick-fil-A for dinner and texted her. She arrived shortly after I did. I grabbed Bobby from her car and carried him inside. She hugged me as I held him. I set him in his high chair and helped feed him. Babies can be messy eaters, and Bobby was at the stage where he liked to throw food. She thanked me for the takeout. We chatted and talked happily with Bobby, even as she cried. I spent the evening with Bobby, not leaving his side until he was asleep. He was my focus and reason for enduring the situation. Later, I found Tracy in the living room looking over the divorce papers. She took a deep breath to calm herself before speaking. I'm sorry, Brian, okay? Is that what you wanted to hear? She asked, her voice trembling. Honestly, it's the first apology since this started. What exactly are you apologizing for, Tracy? I asked, my tone stern. I'm sorry you saw those pictures and found out the way you did. I can only imagine how uncomfortable it was for you, she said, trying to sound sincere. So, you're sorry I found out, not sorry you cheated. Got it, I replied, feeling the anger rise. Don't say that. Elliot said once you see the benefits of our group, you'd accept it. You'd have the freedom to be with other women just like I am with other men, she explained desperately, trying to justify her actions. Of course, that's what he said. You and Elliot both failed to consult me about infidelity. It's a shame you trust his words over mine. He doesn't know me or our marriage, and apparently neither do you, I said, feeling betrayed. Look, I realize now I acted wrongly. You're right, I should have talked to you first. Elliot told me that if I had approached you, things would have gone smoothly. He's convinced you.